Director Quick, are you present?
Present. Sorry, I don't think I could hear you all before.
Yeah, I heard her say present.
That was. Director Gardner.
Present.
Okay. All members are present. We have a quorum. Just for the record, one member is online.
All right, we were just working through some technical issues. Thank you, Bob. Now let's get started with today's meeting. Guess we'll go with this. First up, information item I-1 is an update on our Blue Line construction by our project manager, Michael Schneider.
Thank you. And good morning, everyone. Can you hear me just fine?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. For those of you that don't know me, I am Mike Schneider, a construction project manager for the Blue Line.
Michael,
Yeah.
please wait a moment. We're having some technical difficulties.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Michael, you want to try and go ahead and proceed?
Sure. Is this better? Okay. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mike Schneider, a construction project manager for the Blue Line. Just going to hit some hot topics on all the work that we've been completing. I'm not going to get into everything, just want to do something a little more high level. On the next slide, we can see the still issues.
Yeah, still issues, Mike. Hold tight. Okay, Mike, let's try again. Can you proceed from the beginning?
Sure. Is this any better? I could try something on my end as well.
No, you're good. I have not heard myself echo a second
Perfect.
time, so I think we're okay.
Okay, good to get started. Thank you again. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mike Schneider. I am a construction project manager on the Blue Line. Just going to go through a high-level overview on what we've been working over the past few months. On the next slide, we can see a BRT segment map. Part of our design, this project was broken up into 5 design segments. You can see at the top of the image there. From there, we broke it up into 12 construction sub-segments. I've highlighted 6 of those I would like to talk about in red from A3, which is at Indigo's West Campus. And we're going to work our way east. B1 and B2 includes downtown, and segment F is the far east end of the corridor in the Cumberland area. Okay, let's jump in on the next slide. So a large majority of our work so far has included storm sewer installation, snippet in front of 1501. All of this work in front of 1501 was completed as part of probably our most impactful closure to date at Washington and Harding Street, which is mostly completed on time. But how this works is crews will install their concrete storm sewer that is then backfilled and ready for pavement, as you can see on the right side of the screen. And you can see that pavement on the next slide. There is the same area that you just saw the subgrade treatment at, and the crews on the right image are doing the final touches as part of that closure, with a nice image of 1501 in the background. We still have crews working in the area, nothing impactful, it's just mostly sidewalk work, some curb, some signal work, and those utility crews have then moved from here, making their way west for our next lane restriction. That will be a 6-month westbound restriction from Harding to Belmont. I expect that to start within the next 2 months, just depending on how utility work goes. And on the next slide, we can just see another snippet of some more concrete pavement underneath the CSX bridge just east of 1501. Okay, moving along to segment B1. So if you're a civil engineer or history nerd like myself, one of the cooler aspects of this project is that it does run through old US 40. To be expected, we will and have uncovered some of the old railroad that ran through Indianapolis, as you can see on the left-hand side, as well as some of the railroad ties you can kind of make out under the stone there. This is in front of the State House. On the right-hand side, you can see this area in its current day state. The State House is our most complete station to date, and the only one that has the steel canopy installed. All of this work is being completed as part of phase 1, which I would consider most of the brunt work, the larger construction. Phase 2, which will include the final touches and some of the smaller work to complete the station, will occur in 2027 in the winter. So it will be a reoccurring theme. As you drive through the corridor, you may see a lot that look incomplete. This is all per plan as phase 1. State House should be our first phase 2 station. So don't panic if you see a lot of incomplete stations. It's all per plan. Moving along to segment B2. One of the more unique aspects and larger risks of the project is installing some pretty substantial storm sewer into the Pogues Run tunnel that runs underneath Indianapolis. On the left-hand side, you can see the construction management team and myself doing a bit of a field trip and exploration just to ensure that this storm sewer was ready to be installed per plan. We didn't run into too many issues, but just wanted to get ahead of any risks ahead of time. Being such a substantial installation, this could have been a huge delay for the project, but again, luckily, we didn't find anything that would delay our progress. And on the right-hand side would be our first excavation. What you can see there is an existing pipe. This was then removed and would be the location of the first of two pipes we installed, which you can see in the next slide. That area was then replaced with that 42-inch black corrugated plastic pipe. The second is currently being cut. You can see the gentleman on kind of the bottom right. I was hoping that the hole would be there already so I can share that with you. I'll make sure to do that next time. Crews are currently out there. Again, one of the riskier aspects of the project, just because of the proximity of the two pipes, this man is cutting a hole for a pretty substantial 66-inch concrete pipe, which in the world of storm sewer is pretty huge. And also the location of the two pipes right next to each other. We needed to make sure that the tunnel itself was structurally sound enough to be able to support large holes, two separate holes right next to each other. So luckily, no issues as of yet, and I'm not expecting any delays at Pogue's Run. Moving on to the next slide. This is just a view from the same area that we were just looking at, looking east. In the background, you can see I-65. All of this work is being completed as part of our 4-month lane restriction at College in Washington. Again, progressing nicely. I'm not expecting any delays here. We would like to open up that area as soon as possible. Hopefully a little early, but no promises made yet. Moving along to segment C2, we are entering the near east side part of the project. I wanted to include this as more of a unique aspect of the project. We have two underground stormwater detention units. This one is located at Willard Park. The other is located at Indianola Park, just west of 1501. On the left-hand side, you can see just how far deep we had to go underneath the shoring and tiebacks. This is one of, if not the largest mass excavations as part of the project. The crew actually had to do this in halves, beginning on the southern half, move all of the dirt to the northern half. So if you drove the corridor, at one point you may have seen a mountain of dirt next to Washington Street. Crews installed the underground stormwater detention unit on the south side and then flipped. The purpose of this is to hold stormwater and control the outflow into where it's supposed to go. And on the right-hand side, we can see its current day state. Most of the construction is complete. However, we do have some cleanup work and a little bit of minor construction to complete this area. Moving along to segment E, we are entering the far east side. So this is an area on the far east side. We didn't have a ton of major stormwater work yet, but crews have been working diligently on some paving, as well as concrete curb, concrete sidewalk, and whatnot. So I just wanted to include some of the asphalt paving that we have been completing as well. Moving along to segment F on the next slide, on the far east side, we are just west of Mithofer. This location we refer to as Cherry Tree Plaza, and is called out on our segment map that way as well. So Cherry Tree Plaza is our second most complete station to date. You can see the foundation poured on the right. Originally, our second station was supposed to be at the convention center, which was held up a little bit due to permits. That has been resolved. Crews have begun working there. However, the Package A contractor, which is our roadway contractor, was able to release 3 of the stations on the far east side. So we're not expecting any delays. That's just where our contractor was able to mobilize to. They will drop back and then begin construction on our other downtown station at the convention center shortly. The next side is a wonderful schedule. It is still early in the project, so we are looking right on time. Hopefully it remains that way, but I will provide the latest and greatest as we move along. Again, it's pretty early, but as of now, no serious delays. We have a few years to go though. So finally, open it up to questions. Let me know if there's anything else I can touch on or. anything
Michael,
you
you
may
should
want
know
to know.
better than to show a schedule like that to us.
I showed it because it looks good.
No, the important thing to know is it's on time, and we appreciate that. Just a couple of questions. I think it was in the B1 section in the downtown area. Can you just remind me what happens as we encounter those railroad ties?
This was all part of the plan. Irvington has a ton as well. They're just cut out and removed and disposed of. I know we've been coordinating with Irvington because they do want to keep some of them. We were involved. I haven't heard much traffic lately. This came up a couple months ago. It's not part of the contract, so the contractor has to be on board as well. But this is not a surprise to us. We knew this going into construction.
Okay. And then are we having to route people around the segment near 1501?
We had a full closure at Washington Harding. The next substantial lane closure will be from Harding to Belmont, which will be a 6-month closure of the westbound lanes. That work is not completed yet. Utility crews are diligently working, heading west from 1501 to try to get us in there so we can complete our work.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. Are there any questions?
I have one. Michael,
Yep.
this is Stan Smith. With the retention pond, your stormwater retention, is that connected to the CSO project itself?
It is not at Willard Park. This is pretty far east of here,
Okay,
on the Near East side.
okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mike, you said the next closure, will be a 6-month closure, and when is that expected to occur?
We were hoping to get started around now. I'm expecting the beginning of December for that to occur. Kind of fluid as of now, just waiting on some utility work. Our contractor, and I'd like to touch on this, has been doing a great job, both Great X and Wilhelm. So once we get in there, hopefully it's fairly quick work for us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. I didn't even see you there. Doesn't pop up on my screen until you speak, so appreciate that. There aren't any other questions or comments. We will move on to information item I2, which is the presentation on the Mobility Advisory Committee update presented by MAC Chair, Mr. Chris Hollingsworth.
Yeah.
Yes. Should light up green.
There it goes. Got it.
Gotcha.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today. The MAC has been working actually for over a year on adapting a new set of bylaws, and we have been in negotiations, as you know, with Indigo and the legal department. And I think we're very close to a resolution of that, to have our bylaws updated and finalized. We are also working on some membership issues that we're having. We have a couple of people who have decided that they don't want to serve, and we have some people that want to serve but are having a few health problems. So we are continuing to work on our membership. We have made a distinct effort this summer to educate the public on the existence of the MAC and see if we can get more people involved in the meetings and involved in knowing what the MAC does and what the MAC is for. To that end, we have made presentations at, I think, 2 different conventions this year and sent information to many different organizations across the city. We have also instituted an email address that is indymacparatransit@gmail.com that comes directly to myself and Greg Myers so that people can contact us directly. We haven't had a lot of action yet, but we're working on that. So I think the biggest thing that we're doing is working to educate the public and get more disability groups involved in what we're doing and to find out what they expect and what they would like and get their opinions. And that's my report.
Excellent. Thanks for your report, Chris. Are there any questions or comments? Ms. Stallings? Nope. I just want to thank Chris for your efforts. I know heading up the MAC isn't a paid position or anything. You do it because of passion. And so we appreciate the effort you put into it, and we'll continue to support you guys in any way we can.
Well, thank you. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank the board for the 6-month delay in the fare increases. And I have been asked to mention that we would like to continue to work with the board on possible ways to achieve the goals of Indigo and make the fare increases a little easier on the paratransit riders. So we wanted to thank you for your willingness to work with us.
Absolutely. Appreciate those comments, Chris. And our final agenda item is information item I3, an update on our ADA bus stops progress update presented by our program manager, Rachel Wilson.
All right. Okay. Yes, I'm here to speak to you today about local bus stop improvements, specifically regarding the ADA transition plan update. I'm Rachel Wilson. I am the design manager for the local bus stops and have been the last few years. And this is a team effort. I work closely with the service planning team, specifically Ryan Hunt, Ryan Gallagher, and Jack Treber. And then they scope the projects, hand the scope to me, and I work with the design firms to get the design prepared and out to bid. And from there, I've been handing it off to Mike Schneider to see through construction. Next slide, please. So presentation overview, I will be focused on the ADA transition plan. And if you're not familiar with it, I'll go through some background and how it came to be, the initial assessment we did as it was put together, how we've implemented it, and then lastly, just where we stand with the progress on the plan. So some background, what is an ADA transition plan? It is a strategic roadmap created by public entities to ensure their facilities, programs, and services are accessible to people with disabilities, as required by the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. Next slide, please. And so how is it monitored? INDOT acts as our local enforcer, holding us accountable to the ADA Act. They adopted Indigo's plan back in May of 2021, and the stated goal of that plan was 85% ADA compliance of our local bus stops within 15 years. So here we are, 4.5 years later, and I'm coming to give you an update how that's going. And also this month, the ADA transition plan was updated and provided back to INDOT with an update. All right, so still some more background on how the plan was initially developed. We had to do an assessment where we had to ask ourselves a couple key questions. How many bus stops do we have in our network? And also, of these bus stops, what level of compliance are they? And we have a scale from 0 to 5 that we assigned to each stop. And the main criteria that we looked at were boarding pad dimensions. We're supposed to have 5 foot wide by 8 foot deep, no more than 2% slopes in any direction, a minimum curb height of 6 inches, and sidewalk connectivity. So the entire inventory was assessed for how they scored from 0 to 5. and only 5s are considered compliant. So we have a table that, how we rate from 0 to 5. There are a couple examples here. Level 0 to the left there meets none of their criteria, no boarding pad, no sidewalk, bad slopes. And we're trying to take all these 0s, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s and take them to the picture on the right that checks all the boxes and is fully compliant. So as we developed the original plan, the initial inventory back in January 2020, there were 3,385 stops. And as the plan was still being drafted, some stop rebalancing was done. We did our first round of improvements and landed at 2,908 stops. And level of compliance in January 2020, only 16.3% were compliant. And then April 2021, 21.7%. And that's where we fell at the adoption of the original plan. So keep that number in mind because we'll circle back and I'll let you know at the end where we stand now. So implementation, the number of stops has decreased as the network is consolidated and realigned to favor frequency, efficiency, and ridership. This map here, you can't see it clearly, but it does show a number of routes throughout the city that are planned to be realigned and from between 2021 and 2027. So that's an ongoing effort there. And the number of stops continue to drop as we roll these out. Indigo has been very busy constructing improvements to fulfill the commitments of the plan. There's always the next scope and the next design to fill the construction pipeline. So here are a couple examples I pulled from the original ADA plan, some before and afters of existing stops that were improved and a new one added there on the bottom. And stops are typically improved in batches based on the greatest need. Low ADA scores and areas of persistent poverty are prioritized. And that map there just illustrates that it's a very data-driven process looking at demographic information and operational information to come up with, to target where the areas of greatest need are, as you can see highlighted in red there. And so that would be where we target building our next round of improvements.
Rachel,
Yes.
roughly how large are these batches?
I guess the one package I'm working on now has 55 stops in it. So it's kind of
range.
It's varied.
Yeah.
There's a range because the price can vary. We try to target $1 million or so in our bids. And if there are traffic signals, it kind of throws the number down because that adds to the cost quite a bit. Some good news, Indigo doesn't have to go this alone to make all these improvements. DPW is a great partner and improves a lot of stops in collaboration with Indigo. It's a nice example I found of, from West Michigan there with a nice shelter and pedestrian signal. And then a few more examples where these are unique, where we've been having to closely collaborate on some of these more tricky ones where there's a cycle track that has a bus stop right there and just how to work that out so this interaction is smooth. And we're actually updating our design standards as we go and take these lessons and make them official. BRT projects are also a means of bus stop improvements. The purple line was a big jump for us, rolling that out almost a year ago now with 18 new level boarding pads, which are also considered ADA compliant. And we also rolled in 7 local bus stops within the project. So staff, the service planning team maintains a local stops database to track the inventory and all these improvements, always continually updating that. There was a lot of effort to reflect all the work done in 2024, which was a really big year. 133 stops improved in that year. Jack Trieber does a great job taking GIS data and making nice looking maps for us. As you see here, all the stops that were improved throughout the city, not just by Indigo, but that legend on the bottom. We also saw improvements from DMD, DPW, INDOT improved a couple, etc. All right, and I mentioned earlier that Mike Schneider, he's our construction manager. He gave me some nice photos, examples from construction in 2024, as you see here. 33rd and Franklin, Division and Oliver Avenue, and they're at 21st and Lafayette. And a few more examples. I know Lafayette Road we had a lot of pedestrian signal improvements. As you can see some examples here of that. And big thank you to the Indigo Foundation. Grant funding speeds the rate at which we can implement these improvements. And since 2021, we brought in a lot of grant funding, including $81 million CIG grant for the Purple Line. We've had 2 different FTA areas of persistent poverty grants that totaled $1.3 million specifically for design. DPW Indianapolis Neighborhood Infrastructure Partnership grants. We've gotten one every year over the past 4 years, $500,000 each year. And then here in 2025, it was $350,000. And then a handful of others with the support of Indigo Foundation from IU Health, Fifth Third Bank, Mybor, Honda, 16 Tech, and others. All right, so now for the big reveal. Upon plan adoption back in 2021, where are we now here in 2025? So as you can see, as the years have gone by, the number of stops has decreased, the number of improved stops has all gone up, and our compliance has risen to 41.8%. So the 2021 ADA plan projected a goal of 46%. So I am happy to say that we are currently on track. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Sent a lot of information back
Yes.
in that report. But I appreciate that. And I also appreciated where you kind of left us at the end in terms of compliance. That was an excellent kind of jump to see. And you said it was 46% is the goal for next year?
Where that's back in 2021. I reread that report, and that's where they were projecting we would be in 2026.
Do we revise those numbers in any way? How are we projecting for next year?
For next year, with that 2025 update, I want to say in 2026, we wanted to wait in 27. It just continued to rise. Those numbers, they do fluctuate a little bit, and they're always being massaged, I know, by service planning. And it's actually a pretty tricky work to keep up with all of it, our own work, and then what others are doing. A lot of field work and going back and tracking all the data and trying to get it as accurate as possible.
Touched on my next question. I was going to ask about how we're doing in terms of like other markets and with our peers per se.
Oh, compared to other cities, I had the same question. I'm really not sure.
Well, check, see what you can find out.
Okay.
I don't know. Any other questions?
No questions.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Stan. All right. The
Thank you.
report was received. That concludes our agenda. Our meeting is now adjourned. The next meeting for Service Committee will be held on Thursday, February 12th at 8:30 a.m. here in our East Campus Boardroom. As always, recordings of our meetings are available on Channel 16 and on our website at www.indigo.net. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.